Hello, welcome to another unboxing. This time it's the Cambridge CXC compact disc transport. And by transport I mean it's a CD player which doesn't have a DAC inside, so you need a separate digital to audio converter before you can get any sound, and obviously an amplifier. Reason I'm getting this is I got rid of my Arcam Blu-ray CD player, and I've been using the little Sony X700, put a link to that one there, which is a 4K player, and I've used the digital out on that because I've got rather a nice, it's top of the range Marantz Cinema preamp, which has got quite a nice DAC in it. So I thought, well, let's see, this is £300, it's worth a punt, just to see if something that's dedicated to running CDs only, because it's got, I think they call it the C3 software, which is state of the art for error correction, and a drive that's designed for it, and just see if this is actually going to make any difference to the sound quality at all. Because I know there's always been the debate about, well, it's ones and zeros, but in fact when you think about it, it isn't ones and zeros that come out the cable. There's not actually ones and zeros travelling down that digital cable. It's an analogue wave, and the rise of the wave is the on and the dip is the off, I guess, or vice versa. So it's still subject to RFI and things like that. So there is something in it. Besides, I bought a digital cable and I thought, well, it's going to make no difference at all. You know, I put an ordinary phono cable in out the back, and it did sound better with one that was well shielded. But you know, I expect just me saying that I'll have people put comments about, no, you're wrong, it doesn't make any difference. You know, I don't really want to get into a big argument about it. This is just my preference. To me it sounds better, so that's that. So, and also changing the mains cable as well, and that's more to do, you know, because you can say, well, the mains come right the way along through a great big pylon and it's all open to RFI and things. Well, that's the point, so you filter it right at the end, so the ones that have the weave can filter out RFI and things and make the sound better, but sometimes they can make it sound worse and restrict the sound. So yeah, it's a thing to try out. What's this back here? Oh, it seems to have a remote control in it by the feel of things. Well, let's just unpack things first, so that's that. Oh, rather nicely packaged. And I take it this is the same servo mechanism drive that is in there, top of the range player, so I'm quite interested to hear this. Although some may say it doesn't have a sound, so it just puts out digital information. But if that's the case, this will not sound any different to my little 4K player. And that's quite heavy actually. So that's what I want to experiment. So I mean, some transports, let me just clear this away. Make sure there's nothing else. Oh, there is. Everything out the box first. Right. Just the box out the way. So what do we get? I think that's a European plug and a UK mains cable. And we also get in this rather nice bag oh, you do get a digital cable. It did say on there no cables. It says on the box, attention, no cables. I'll just show you the box here. Attention, no cables. it does give you the digital cable. And my preference is the wired rather than the optical. I thought the optical might be best because it's actually a physical separation where it transfers into light, but it's one transfer and transfer back again, and just keeping it nice and simple, i.e. the same that goes out that goes into the next thing rather than how to convert it to light and back again seems to be the better. But it's always worth experimenting because some of these things, there's no set science with some of this. So, safety instructions. Let's have a look. So I think it's got rather a nice remote control. Because this is one thing I was lacking on my little Blu-ray player, Ultra Blu-ray player, is a proper remote. So at the moment, to find a disc, rather than put in the number, I'm having to forward because there's no numbers on my little controller. This has got a really nice, huge array of controls, much more than I was thinking. And it's this finish, it feels nice. It feels like slightly rubberized. Okay, so if you can hear that fan noise in the background, sorry about that, but I'm rendering a video and it's taking 10 hours to render for 4K. Right, so positive is down. That is a very nice controller. Is it illuminated? That's the thing. So that looks like illumination there. Doesn't appear to be illuminated in any way, which is a shame. I thought that's what that was, but that might be display of the transport. Digital in. USB. It's got all sorts of things. This must be for this must be a controller for their whole range, not just this one. We've got a quick start guide. Tells you oh, there's a picture of a USB there. I don't think mine plays USBs. There we are. Okay, so there's the back. And interestingly there is 2 digital outputs by the look of things. Or is that the outputs? I'll have a look in a second. Okay, so how to connect it to everything. Okay, let's have a look at the main the main event, the star of the show. Oh, let's have a look at that straight away at the back. So we've got a grounded connection, which is nice. We can change the voltage if needs be. So we've got a 110 to 100 to 120 volt, or 220 to 240. That's quite good because some things are only rated 220, and my voltage is about 248 here. Now we have got, oh, the writing's upside down, and the right way round for looking over the top, I guess. We've got control bus in and out, so that must be a Cambridge thing. I thought it had 2 digital outs. Well, it does, but it's got an SPDIF, Sony Philips digital interface, and a Toslink, which is your optical. It's also, oh, I thought that was one of those that you get on the preamps. It turns units on and off, but it says IR in on that one. It's an infrared, so no. So all I'm going to be using on this then is the digital out and the power in. Okay. I ordered the black version to match my other stuff. It's got some feet on the bottom, some basic looking feet. I'm not expecting a lot because, I mean, some digital transports are in the thousands, like the Cyrus one. I wonder what the difference. I mean, I'd love to have them all next to each other and try them on and listen to the difference between this and one that costs over $1,000. That's actually quite nice. So let's take that off straight away. So we've got a track forward and back and a stop, a play and a pause, an eject and a power. Great British sound. Wow. God, it's quite heavy for something that, goodness me, for something that's only got a servo engine in it. Okay, there's a torrid there. And you wouldn't have thought it would be a very big torrid for just working that little tiny motor and putting digital output, but that feels really heavy. Oh, there we are. So that's a quick look round. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks since I installed my CD player. And above it here is the X700 that I was talking about, the 4K player, which also I was using as a transport. So at the moment I've got a film loaded into it, but really there shouldn't be any difference, should there, between the two? They're both going into this Marantz unit, which has the DAC inside, which is, I think it's the 8802. It says it there actually. So yeah, there is a difference between these two. They're both just transports. There's no DACs inside either of them. But and I've used the same digital connection. I've just swapped it over for a bit of continuity as well. And this is definitely better sounding than that, which I guess it shouldn't sound any better. There's a lot of argument about that. Anyway, I found some nice things and some not so nice things about the controller. So let's start with that. So the controller here, unfortunately, let's just get that in focus. Unfortunately, it's the controller for the whole caboodle of their products. So it's only actually this bottom part, which is for the CD player. So you've got your normal controls there. But I was hoping that these numbers, you'd be able to select track numbers with, and it doesn't work. So all you actually get here is this part works. And then you've got, the mute works. The mute actually makes my main unit go, so it can see that, and it can see volume on my Marantz with this. But at the moment, I don't know if you can make out the display. It's quite dim, and that's on full output. So this dimmer here on the top of the unit, so you have completely off. That's as bright as it goes. Off. So there's 1, 2, 3, that's it. So on the bad side, I can't pick individual tracks, but on the good side, the display and the information is that good, it's not such a big deal as you might think in the first place. Now, another thing, which I've never had on a CD player before, just getting mixed up which side's which, there's the eject, is that if it's on the disc, because not all of them have it, it will play information. So let's say read that. There you go, secret, CD1. I've never had a CD player that's done that before. So see, the information is quite nice. So I consider 17 tracks is 5512 long. So instead of being able to punch the numbers in as I wanted to, so if I punch in, say I want track number 2, that's not happening. But if I go to the fast forward here down the bottom, the jump, you see it goes, look, 1 of 17, 2 of 17. So in fact, it's actually quite easy to get the track you want. So because of the great display, there's no problem. Right. So it's a big controller, but it's for the whole range. So you only use this bottom bit here and the dimmer, the on-off. That's about it. You just have to use the bottom of it. But you know, £300, isn't it? Oh, I'm quite pleased with it. The sound is lovely. Obviously, playing it now wouldn't really let you know what it sounds like, I guess, but I could put one of my own on, so I don't get a CD strike. And that's another annoying thing. Of course, I've lost my my payments on my Nonsensical Child channel, so I've only got 500 subscribers. So if you like this sort of thing to do, please give me a sub. So I'd like to get to 1,000 subs, and at least get a little bit of money coming in. So I'm going to play Zirconium Mechanism, Escape from the Egg Chamber. which is one of my own, so I won't get any strikes in the future. If I do get monetization back, I will be able to monetize this video, but at the moment that seems like a long way off. Oh my goodness! The writing comes up on my own CD. Wow. What about tracks? Do they come up? Yeah, it does. Fantastic. Wow. I didn't expect that. So on my own CDs, the writing comes up. I can't even remember how I got those in there now. Oh, I guess I wrote them when I ripped them. That's right, I used DB power amp, so yeah. Must be on because of that. Okay, so I'm just going to play something, but you're not really going to get the sound quality. What have we got here? We've got a couple of 550 watt monoblocks, some Spender S9E speakers, wired with chord reference, the original one, not the silver plated one. And I've also got a solid silver cable to the monoblocks made by Artisan. And the connection digital to this unit is via a rather elaborate looking digital cable. Actually, it's got 3 actual runs coming out of it. It's a Chord Indigo digital cable. I've got the Marantz 8802 cinema preamp. Underneath that there's a Copeland 5 channel, but that's not on at the moment. Got a centre speaker by PMC, a CB6 there. But at the moment we're just set up for 2 channel, and above that, that's the power supply I bought with the 12 volts showing for my 4K player, and that improved the bass. And next to that is the power supply for my Phono RS preamp, and above that is a Project RPM 5.2, which I've modified, which has got a Deltec platter. I've also put a Russ Andrews power supply for that. And we've got various cables. There's some Nordost ones here, Supra there. Mainly Nordost on the, I think they're Vishnu's, Nordost Vishnu's on the power amps, and on the subwoofer, which isn't on at the moment. And that is a BK Monolith Plus, 500 watts. Right, well, let's see what my own stuff sounds like. Okay, play. And let's forward it on to, for me, what is a normal track. I'm playing at volume 57. I know it doesn't really give you much of an idea of what it sounds like. The one thing I'd say that I've noticed between the 2 different transports, they're both budget transports really, aren't they, is that when I play through this one, the stereo filled, when I used to play it before, it was very much within the speakers, and I was actually thinking about moving that speaker the other side of the subwoofer, but it didn't sound very wide, the stereo filled. But now I'm playing it through this Cambridge unit, it goes way past the speakers, it fills the whole room up now. So the differences I've noticed, I was hoping for a bit more bass, but that hasn't happened. It's all in the mid-range and treble again. So it's a wider stereo fill, that's the biggest difference. And yeah, it's a wider because of the way that the mid-range and treble seems to spread right out now, so it's lovely. Of course, it's not running yet. I'd probably, I don't know, played about 10, 15 discs so far. I haven't used it very much so far, so I don't feel it's run in. Oh, one other thing I had to mention is I'm using, you can see them there, solid air magnetic levitation feet, so the whole thing's actually floating. It's being held by opposing magnets, as is the record player as well. Funny enough, it didn't make that much difference on the record player. I was thinking, wow, as soon as I've got it, you know, floating, that's going to make a big difference, but it didn't. Seems to make more difference with these sort of units, and it seems to make everything more neutral. It seems to balance things out a bit. It doesn't emphasize anything so much. Anyway, so I'm really pleased with this unit. Just turn it up volume down a little bit more. I love the display. Even the way it just clicks over the numbers is nice. Because I don't know if you're like me, you tend to just drift off and stare at the display quite often when you're listening to music. And it's pleasing. I like the way that it changes. It looks like it's an LCD backlit, but it's nice and sharp. It's not very bright, but I guess I normally turn like on this unit. I've got it on pure at the moment, so it's all off anyway. But when these do come on, I don't know if you can see the difference in brightness. Yeah, you can. You can see the difference in brightness between this display and this one. But I mean, you can still see it, so that's that. Anyway, I'm pleased with it. I think it was well worth the money, and it feels. I mean, it's quite heavy with that toroidal power supply inside, and I was surprised how heavy it felt. It's well built, nicely shielded, and as I say, I love the way that the tracks come up, even on my own recordings. Oh, up here, by the way, I will put a link to this album just in case you're curious and want to hear it.
Renewed fighting in Beirut has left 20 dead during the worst battle in the city for many years. Syrian troops have been responding to a challenge from the Lebanese army, whose leader has vowed never to surrender.
The day-long battle was concentrated on the capital's east-west demarcation line for many hours, with ear-splitting shell and machine gun fire cutting through the buildings. Ordinary people can't help but get caught in a crossfire. There are enough arms to fuel this war indefinitely.
The other thing I don't like is that this isn't backlit, so if you're sat in low light, which I quite often I am, you're just going to have to get used to where these are. At least they're all close together at the bottom. Yeah, unfortunately, no backlighting. But it is actually a very nice controller that I just wish... I mean, it would have been nice to have been able to just type in the number. I don't know why they didn't have that. But as I say, with that excellent display, it's no problem at all. The display is fantastic. And as I say, the first one I've ever had that shows the track names, the titles, and the album title as well. I really like that. So definite improvement on the other drive. Just got to wait for it to run in. So if I notice any more differences coming in, like if the bass suddenly gets a little bit better once it's all run in, I'll let you know. But at the moment, from what I've used before, so it's the same DAC, but different transports. This time it's much wider, the stereo field. That's the big difference. In fact, a bit like when you play vinyl as opposed to a CD. That's what I've normally found, that when you put vinyl on, the stereo field is wider. Now, it's sort of trying to match vinyl. Not quite as wide. The stereo field is good vinyl, really good recording that is. But mind you, I haven't been through all my CDs, and as you know, they vary a lot. So I mean, you can blame the CD player, and it can be just the recording. So obviously I put that one on because of copyright infringements and what have you. So yeah, please subscribe if you like my channel. It really would be appreciated. So I've only got 500 subscribers, and my channel's been going 10 years, so it would be nice to get a few more. So this was the Cambridge CXC digital CD transport. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.